Welcome to 0 to 60. I'm your host, Matt McChesney. Happy Friday. Hopefully everybody out here in Denver, Colorado land, and the great box state is staying warm as we got hammered with snow. The gym is going to be closed for the rest of the day today, so stay off the roads, anybody that's out there watching. So we'll wrap up Friday here on 0 to 60 on the Believe Network. Coach JB will be joining us here shortly as he gets off of his show. We were on there earlier talking a bunch of junk. It was pretty fun this morning. Talk about a bunch of different stuff this morning, but as always, our show is brought to you by our good friends at Bet Online. The Bet Online does a great job of being our sponsor and our title sponsor here, so make sure you go to Bet Online and check out what they do and how they do it. From the UFC to the NFL playoffs, the NBA, and of course March Madness coming up here very soon. Bet Online is the best place to get all of your betting news, your wagering news. Hell, I get my weather from that site. So it's a great company. They do a great job of sponsoring the show and being a title sponsor here for 0 to 60. Like I said, I'm Matt McChesney. Coach JB will be joining us here shortly. All right, so we have a lot to talk about here, to say the least, on today's show. I think, Coach JB just texted me right now. He'll be on in two minutes. I think that there's so much to discuss here with the NFC and AFC title games, with just everything going on in the wide world of sports here in the NFL. I love Championship Sunday. It's always a great day, but it also, the realization that there's 3 more football games. There's, the AFC and NFC title games, the Super Bowl, and then it's a wrap. And we go into, sports purgatory for 6 months. So you've got the draft and all that stuff coming up. I'm excited to see what happens here moving forward with the NFL and, into the offseason with some of the player movement and things of that regard. So when you're talking about, what's going to happen this week with Detroit and with San Francisco, and then on the other side with Baltimore and Kansas City, man, I don't know if you could get a better matchup, honestly. So let's bring in Coach JB here, and we got a good 20 minutes. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. Coach Jason Brown joining us here on 0 to 60. Hey, fucker, how are you?
What up? What up? I got a surprise for you, and I'm waiting for you to let me in. I got a surprise for you. He's going to enter this chat here in a second.
Dog, I love surprises. Did you send him the link?
Yeah.
Kick ass. Who's the surprise?
I don't know.
You can't tell me because then it wouldn't be a surprise anymore. Is that what you're trying to say?
Exactly. Now you get it.
Cool. Hey, everybody in the comment section, and make sure you go pound the like button and subscribe on YouTube. Check us out on Twitter, on TikTok, and on Instagram, obviously, 60 Academy. Make sure you follow Coach JB on all of his platforms and the Coach JB Show on all the platforms. He does a great job of posting everything up, and Bailey's the man who helps everybody. Look, we're going to answer.
Do you have somebody in your back chat? Is there somebody you can enter in or no?
Yeah, I got him. Oh, the fucking meatball is on. Nice. The fucking meatball is on the show. Yes.
Matt, how you doing, buddy? Where you been?
How the hell are you, bro?
Good. You disappeared after that little tongue lashing I gave you.
Yeah, well, it hurt my feelings.
Yeah. I see your boys are out doing fashion shows instead of going to meetings.
Did you do this on purpose, Coach? You fuck. Well, look, I agree with Coach Prime. I don't want to ever keep anybody from a dream.
Shameful.
Hey, Matt, I said, Matt, let me get Jeff on here and show that we have no hard feelings. We love Matt, and Matt
it's all fun. I love Matt. I tried coming on the show. You didn't invite me.
It's all good. We're going back and forth. I'm glad he's on. It'll actually give us a lot to talk about here today because there's some.
Hey, Matt, I'm sure you want Jeff's betting advice, though, for this one because I think, he's one of the best bettors in the world, and he won some folks we know a lot of money. So I wanted him to come on with you, and it's your show, so you run it. But if you got some betting things, I know Jeff's here to answer them.
Well, look, this weekend, I don't know the lines on the games, but I don't really like taking lines because I'm dumb. But I love taking money line bets. Do you think, Jeff, do you think there's any chance that Detroit can go to San Francisco, win that game, and fucking put some money in my pocket?
No, I don't. I think they could probably make it interesting for a half, but I don't know. I think we all kind of know. Look, they're very good. Look, we know St. Brown's one of the best receivers in the league, but we know that defense isn't up to par with where San Francisco is. Throwing the fact that it's on the road, it just feels like it's that spot where Detroit maybe plays for a half, and then, as Coach talked about with Baltimore in that game against Houston, they make some adjustments and take care of business. I actually like playing the money line, just parlaying both favorites. It might lay a slight price, but I just don't see either favorite losing. Now, in the other game, I think we have to give some strong credence to the fact that the NFL, who is all about money, we know they don't care about anything else. There might be a strong conspiracy to put the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, because it would mean a lot of new people watching the Super Bowl that would never have watched it before, because they're going to see a goofy singer that everybody loves on TV 50 times. That's something where I think we have to think about that. It's crazy because I never gave credence to a conspiracy theory, but this is a person who is very popular.
Jeff, Matt's brought this up for years on my show. Like, conspiracies may be real, and Eminem versus Taylor Swift on a Super Bowl seems like it's a huge moneymaker, Matt.
And see, that's the thing is, how much do they actually want, all the fanfare around the game as opposed to just the game? So Detroit doesn't have Motown coming to support them. So, we'll see what happens there. On the other side of it, Kansas City and Baltimore's finally living up to their end of the billing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are finally at a spot where they can challenge the Chiefs in the playoffs. They haven't played yet. Do you think Kansas City, going into Baltimore, can win that game, Jeff?
I think they can. I think they're probably more likely than the Detroit Lions to do so. But look, this has been a group that, they just haven't had the thought that, they have no playmakers. Rashee Rice is their best player outside of Kelsey. I don't know that they have the vertical abilities. Baltimore's just so elite defensively. But they have Andy Reid. We all know they have no issue playing in different conditions. I think it's more likely, I guess, if I were to pick one, I will say I'm not playing a side in either of these games. The only play that I'm actually going to make, I like the over in the other game. I think there are just too many playmakers on both sides. I don't like Detroit's defense that much. Both quarterbacks I'm interested in. The weather should be fine. I think we see a lot of back and forth. Throw in the fact that those are the two best red zone teams in the NFL as far as scoring a touchdown. I think we see a lot of 7s instead of 3s. I think that's like a 34-24 type of game, 31-21. I think 51's too low. I think we see a game that goes over. I think that's the more exciting of the two. The other one's probably a more low-scoring game.
All right, so let me get your picks right now before we move into how it gets done. Coach JB, who taking in the Super Bowl?
Being a Rams guy my whole life and the 49ers being the ones we hate, I'm still always going to tell you the truth. Shanahan has to win it. So I know you want to move on to the how later, but I'm just going to mention the one how part of it. He has more pressure on him than MCDC has. They're playing with house money in Detroit. I don't think there's a pressure on that team. I think Shanahan has it all. And I think Detroit, having the third best run defense in football, will shut the run down to some point and make it hard on McCaffrey. And can Purdy harness that pressure? Can he throw ball after ball after ball and end up throwing for 300 and something yards to win the game, other than having that split offense that saves him? I don't think, all things being perfect, I don't know if he can play when the things aren't perfect and rise to the top. So I'm going to take a shocker in the shot in the dark like you are. I think this is one of those weird years, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Detroit Lions go the way Goff is playing. And I think Goff gets off the schneid playing in a Super Bowl already, having that experience, unlike Purdy. I think he understands it. And I think, Matt, you said on my show, star for star power, there's not a lot of difference. The Detroit has a hell of a pass rusher. The Niners have Bosa. Like, those two are pretty much a cross-off. Yep. The running backs for Detroit, two of them probably equal McCaffrey, but they're both dynamic. And in receiver wise, with Laporta, you got Kittle, you got St. Brown, you got Debo, Ayuk. It's very, very tight. I agree with Jeff. It's going to be an over. I think it'll be over 55 scored in the game. I could easily see in this 30-24, 30-25, 35-27 game. I think it goes over. But I'm going to rock with Detroit getting it done, man, on a shocker. And I'm pretty positive that Kansas City's gonna fizzle out athletically against a team that just runs sideline to sideline as well as they do in Baltimore. I don't think the Chiefs have enough talent this year to do it. So I'm going to take Baltimore, Detroit in the Super Bowl.
Here's the issue with.
How about you, Jeff?
Yeah, here's the issue with Detroit that I'm just going to keep pointing out. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers averaged 6 yards a carry. They just didn't run the ball very much. I mean, they were running it effectively. Throw in the fact that, I mean, Baker Mayfield did what he wanted to do. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns, almost 350 yards. Mike Evans had a big day. This is a bad defense pass-wise. They're the second worst pass defense in the NFL. I mentioned, I mean, they're not particularly strong in the red zone. I'm just not a big fan of them defensively. I think if Tampa Bay would have stuck with the run, they'd have had 5-6 yards of carry on a lot more rushes as well. Secondary isn't good. It just isn't. I think that's the weakest unit out of all 4 teams left on either side. Super Bowl, Ravens, Niners. I think it'll be a great one. And I think the Ravens will win. They've been the best team all year. Shame on Coach Jason Brown, who week 3 or 4 said that Lamar, I mentioned he was an MVP candidate. You laughed in my face. But as usual, when it comes to the NFL, my predictions came in, JB. Time for you to kiss the ring. I'm out. Matt, good to see you, man. We're going to talk a lot about Colorado coming up real soon.
Oh, are we? Okay. Well,
coming, baby. Another lackluster year for the Buffaloes after a lot of people thought they'd be good.
You think that next year they'll be a good football team, or are you predicting that they'll be terrible next year?
Maybe get to a bowl game, which they were unable to do this year. We'll see.
We'll see. Why do you hate them so much?
I don't. I just like I laugh at the national media that sucked them off for 2 or 3 weeks and then realized they just weren't any good, and the celebrities stopped coming and no one at the bar asked for them to come on anymore, and that was that. And Neon Dion couldn't even get to 5 or 6 wins. Disgraceful. In fact, we had to watch them run to every opposite section when they won their games. Then they go on the road and blow leads to, Connecticut School of the Blind and all these other teams.
Hey, Matt, Jeff, I got a serious question, Matt, for you. You and Jeff, I got a serious question before Jeff gets out of here.
It sounds like you just hate, bro. I mean, I don't know. That's different than having a reason to hate.
Here's my thing, Matt and Jeff, to your point. Dion, Matt, I saw a video the other day. I think people said he was a winner and shit, and I've known him since his Dallas days when he had the charter school there. Like, he has never won the championship game, even though he went to 2 HBCU games. He got blown out, in essence, in both of them before he got the job. Is it really just a grab, though, that they grabbed him because of his figurehead name? And like, has he really won, and is he really going to win? I know Matt believes in it because he's an alumni. Like Matt says, he's going to be there after Dion leaves for fucking ever, as he always has been there. But a lot of guys are just fanboys, and that's why Matt takes so much heat on social media, because he's always going to fucking be there and defend his alma mater, unlike others that did not play there. Is this guy – do you really truly believe in your heart that he can win? On your own show, I want to put you on blast, but do you think he is the guy that is a winner, since he has lost 2 title games that he's been in the HBCU?
Look, he's a winner on the field as a player. He's won games as a coach, but he hasn't won championship games. But again, he's only been in 2 of them. So he's had 2 opportunities. He lost twice. It's good to have the opportunity. It's good to get to the game. But you want to win, obviously. I can't sit here and really, speculate about the future, because they have to get to the title game in order to play for a championship. The Big 12, in my opinion, is a much easier conference than the Pac-12 last year. The Pac-12 last year was so incredibly stacked. Now, that's not an excuse, but it is a reason. And I don't know. I feel like next year they have a real opportunity with guys coming back and a revamped offensive line to go do some stuff. Now, look, with all of the shine and with all of the, eyes on them and all the lights and all of the hate and all of the love becomes a lot of expectation. And the players are the ones that have to play. So, as long as the players can absorb all of this and play well with the expectation on their shoulders, then they'll be fine. But if the coaching staff and the coach is putting too much on the young players, then they won't be. And I guess we'll have to see. But I will say this. They've got elite players at important positions. They seem to figure out the offensive line thing, so we'll see. And, all you can do is go out and play. And they revamp their team again, and we'll see if the roster turnover works. But
hey, Jeff,
one question. There's one final question. Do you see where, like, someone like me or any people, do you understand where the hate comes from and why people?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
I understand. I understand why everybody hates. I get it. Right. I mean, I don't understand how people that support Colorado don't understand. Like, that's all. I'm not hating. I'm saying that I don't understand how you don't understand, how your fan goggles can cover up the fact that you don't understand, not you, Jeff, but just
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
How people don't understand why they don't like us. Like,
right. A lot of it's brought on by the behavior after games and just like.
Well, in general, like, you think about Colorado hasn't won a bowl game since I was a senior and I'm 42 years old, and that's bad. But they hire Coach Prime, and then all of the media eyes are on us because of Coach Prime, obviously, and being a bad man. And I'm not hating. I'm saying I understand why other programs don't like it. Now, there's a difference between hate and jealousy. So I think that there's a lot of jealous motherfuckers out there who don't like the fact that there's so many eyes on Colorado because they haven't, quote unquote, won, in the last 20 years. So I think that there's a lot of jealousy towards Coach Prime, on top of the fact that people don't like it. And it's a perfect combination of, jealousy and hate usually turns towards vindictive shit. And look, the great Sean Carter told me this a long time ago, and he told everybody else too. Jealousy is a fucking female trait. So, wake up and stop with that shit.
Hey, Jeff, before I get out of here, I got to go. But let me ask you this. I think Jeff and Matt both, I beat you on this show, on my show. Did you both say this? Because the breaking news, it's all over the internet right now, that they're reporting that Andy Reid can step down after the Super Bowl is very probable, and Belichick replacing him is a possibility.
Yeah, we just talked about this shit. Like, look,
I think Jeff said it weeks ago, but is that you?
I think that was Matt. I didn't say that.
You think that would happen?
Well, we talked about this at length a while ago, and the idea that Andy Reid could step down if they win a Super Bowl and Bill Belichick's just sitting out there. So is Mike Vrabel. I mean, look, man, Andy's 65 years old. We just said it on your show. He's played out of a 25-year coaching career. He's been in the NFC or AFC title game 11 times, which is fucking ridiculous. Pete Carroll's sitting out there too. You think Pete would like to go coach in Kansas City? Like, if Andy Reid, if the great Andy Reid retires, if they win another Super Bowl and he steps down, just don't give the job to Matt Nagy. All right, Eric Bieniemy needs to be a candidate. But when you've got Belichick, Carroll, and Vrabel and all these other cats, Nick Saban sitting out there, I don't know how you don't go to the Rolodex of greatness over there with the coaches and go, we're going to replace one first ballot Hall of Famer with another first ballot Hall of Famer.
But you have to ask yourself, I mean, the rest of the league has decided, well, we're just going to go young and we're going to go after, Canal and Raheem Morris, doesn't make a lot of sense. I agree with you, Matt. I think but I think you're right, Coach. I think if Reid retires, you got to go after that. Well, and it seems like that's what Mahomes wants, like an older kind of coach.
Well, I think Mahomes likes the grandpa, older coach, but that's all he's had too. So I will say this, and I'll ask Coach JB this, and Jeff, you can throw your 2 cents in here. Steve Spagnuolo's on the fucking staff as well. He deserves a look. He's been a head coach before with the Rams way back in the day. It just didn't work out, and rarely does when you have Sam Bradford as a quarterback. But why do you think the trend towards the young coach that hasn't really done anything and doesn't have any coaching experience is so prevalent when you've got such great fucking, established historic coaches out there that aren't getting the job. Like I am Coach Callahan. That's Bill Callahan's son. I'm not saying he's not qualified, but Vrabel and Belichick and Carroll are out there. Like, what are we talking about? Is Andy Reid going to retire just to take a year off and go get another job somewhere else? I mean, why would you walk away from Patrick Mahomes to go do it somewhere else and give somebody else Patrick Mahomes? So I don't know. Give me your thoughts on
I'll
that.
just really quick, and then I'll jump up. I'll just say this. The grass is not always green on the other side with these young coaches, and a team close to me got bitch slapped by this. This team about an hour away from me, the Philadelphia Eagles, did that. And now look, they're crawling back to the old coach and saying, we want a proven winner. You know who they reviewed for defensive coordinator? Ron Rivera, Vic Fangio. It's not always green. And this city was a prime example of that. These young coaches that don't have any experience. Sean Desai was a fucking failure. And so was Brian Johnson. I mean, it's not always greener on the other side. I would have loved a Vrabel or whoever. But I'm going to jump off that. Great show. Always good breaking balls.
Yeah, good seeing you, Jeff.
All right, Jeff, I'll talk to you later.
See you guys.
Hey, Matt, by the way, Jesse Jane passed away.
The porn star?
Yeah, so you know who that was. That was a test for you to know who it was, so your whole audience knows you're a fucking porn legend. Yeah.
That's fucked up, dog. How you gonna throw me under the bus like that?
Hey,
bullshit.
I didn't. Now this is truthful. I did not know who it was, but when I saw her face, I recognized her.
You didn't know who it was.
No, I didn't know her name. When I saw her face, I recognized her.
You didn't know her name. You saw her face, didn't recognize her. Then you saw her bleached butthole, and you're like, "Oh, Jesse Jane, look."
You think she took one too many loads?
I think. Oh wow, dude. Ew, Jesus Christ. Fucked up.
Or did she get the shaft? That's fucked up. My bad. Hey, anyway. Hey, I got some guys here, man, working on my house. My bad. Rip, Jesse Jane. Hey, Matt, Monday after the Super we'll know who we have. I have Mike Lombardi on my show. We'll know who we have to play against, and we'll break that game down.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Detroit and Baltimore this weekend, and I hope Detroit wins, but it'll probably end up being San Francisco or Kansas City in the long run, but we'll see. Look, we'll be back on Monday to break all this down. I'll be back on Coach JB's show as well. Thanks to Jeff for coming on today's show. Thanks for throwing me under the bus there. That was awesome.
I love to do it. Appreciate it.
Man. All right, y'all. Have yourself a good day. Coach, peace. Have yourself a good one. All right. So, look, I wanted to address something here before we get off. There was an article that came out, about minor violations up at CU and saying that somehow, like, I did something at the Stanford game to get my pass revoked. I didn't even go to the Stanford game. I watched it on my sofa over there. So just saying, like, be careful who you listen to out here in the world, because some people have bad information. It's hard for me to break a rule when I'm not at the place where I'm supposed to break the rule. So, and then the other thing is the NCAA is a nutless fucking organization that, I don't think has any authority over anybody. They try to, but they don't. So, it's just be careful what you read and try to fucking throw people under the bus for. But again, it's pretty ridiculous that I wasn't even at the facility or at the game that night because my kids can't handle 8 p.m. games because one of them's 10 and we're still getting shit talk. So I find that ridiculous, but whatever. I mean, it's just one more thing. So we appreciate everybody for watching the show. Make sure you go on and like and subscribe and stay on the up and stay warm out there. And, like I always say, go Buffs and have yourself a good weekend.